Sleepers Podcast is Monday, March 17th, and this is going to have a little different format to it than our previous full episodes because it is Selection Sunday, and there's things to attend to. We don't have time for banter, Cart, so let me just make sure I set the table. We're going to give you our initial bracket reaction. We're recording this right after the bracket show, and then Cart will fill out his entire bracket, pick by pick for you in its own segment. I will fill out my own bracket, pick by pick for you in my own segment. We'll give you a little bit of intel on why with those picks. Again, this is a very fresh first reaction type recording. Maybe things will change and we'll have more coverage on that later this week. We will have previews and recaps of all of these games in the NCAA tournament with our full team coming up on the channel in the coming days as well. But man, it's the best time of year. I am excited. More importantly, I am a champion. You are a champion, Cart. Can we take a moment to just toast to the season that was for our two teams?
I just want to say out there's many a podcast that I highly recommend everyone takes a part of and consumes. I would love to pose the question, who out there, what podcast out there has two hosts that hung a banner in the same year? That's all I'm going to say. In the same conference, might I add. They laughed at us. They said Save the Big Ten was stupid. It is officially saved now, and I want everyone to remember this moment.
Remember it. Wise words from Cartel. All right, I'm looking forward to this, my friend. Should be a fun night. Yeah, anything else? We'll just have the usual content starting tomorrow, but any announcements from you? Oh, the March games. We got to talk about those.
Yes. Do I have to talk about them?
Well, you don't know anything about them, and you claim you don't want to participate in them?
Yes, I will not be participating in them.
You realize, once again, every year I remind you this, you not participating in the games is hurtful to us as a company because people want to compete against you in the games.
Oh, for real?
Please just do the games. You don't even have to pay to do them. Just do them. Okay. So there's 4 games. Shout out to Dion, that boy D Hill, who set all this up for us since I could have my wife go into labor literally right now. Who knows? Still waiting for that.
Happy due date, by the way.
Thank you. Little one's a champion. Little one's born into greatness. Who could have seen that coming? Murph had to go through the mud. Anyways, so we have 4 games. We're going to do a traditional bracket challenge contest. Just fill out your picks, try and win. We're going to do a confidence pick'em, which is really fun. Basically, every single game, every single day of the NCAA tournament, you'll assign a score 1 to 16 based on how confident you are and get as many points for every correct pick that you have. In the end, there will be one winner. We're going to do a players draft where you draft just players for points per game. But obviously, the catch is you want to draft players you think will play multiple games. That's always one of my favorites. And then we're going to do a survivor pool, which is very simple. Just pick one winner a day. Don't pick a loser. Keep it going. Last person in wins it all. So all 4 of those are being set up exclusive to our Discord. If you want to get in any of these games, join the Discord. Dion sent us an update today. I think there's like 15 to 20 people right now doing every single one of the games. So hoping to get 30 to 40 for each of those games in the end. And you got a couple days to join, but the quicker you join, the better. It is $9.99 a month to join the Sleepers Discord. And for those people listening to this that want to join that aren't in the Discord, sorry, this year we're just doing it for Discord members. Given the way that YouTube went with us, honestly, we need all the help we can get getting some people in the Discord. So that's the reason for that. Without further ado, initial bracket thoughts, Car. How do you want to do this? Do you want to, why don't we go like one big bracket takeaway each, and then we'll go region by region with some additional thoughts.
Oh, okay. One big bracket takeaway I think I'll put in this is that I think that the committee's messy. I think the committee's messy because the committee being messy is putting Coach Cal, Coach Pitino, and Coach Self all in the same pod in Providence, Rhode Island, might I add. It's going to be great. And look, I'm not one to like push back on teams getting in, teams getting out. That's not my place to do. I get the outrage. I understand how it goes. But, G, can I also say this? Does North Carolina really belong in this tournament, actually?
Not at all. They 100% do not.
Okay, so I don't understand why I have to listen to fake arguments about why they should be here. They literally, by every single metric, eye test, anything you want to do it by, they should be nowhere near the NCAA tournament.
I think you're right.
They had a chance to get in. All they had to do was not do a lane violation and beat your rival that you have a chance to at the third time without their National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
The handouts are crazy.
I think you're correct, Cart. I think you are correct. Yeah, we'll go region by region on some specific things. I feel like in general, there's a lot of mistakes or things that feel just consensus was shocked about this year more than normal. Like North Carolina in, I think Indiana out. A lot of people thought that team was firmly in the tournament. I don't think Indiana fans even care because Woodson's out. But yeah, even some seedings like Memphis. We have Memphis fan John Martin who was like, "We're going to be in the 8-9 game, 5 seed." Like what? I was certainly surprised Michigan was the 5 after the way this week went, let alone the draw they got. More on that in a moment. But yeah, it just feels like there's a lot of things that would indicate the committee was done with this bracket like on Friday.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the only explanation for like a lot of these decisions feels like we seeded it on Friday and then we stopped.
We know that though, right? Maybe we forgot because like we said the same thing last year. Truly, Sunday doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I feel like this year Saturday doesn't matter. How else do you explain North Carolina getting in? Like
The
they put North Carolina in because they were in at the end of
conference
Friday.
conference tournaments do not matter.
I just yeah, you might as well not play conference tournaments at this point.
Right. All you can do is get hurt. All you can do is get hurt in them, give people ammo to talk shit about you because you lost to somebody. And even if you win, and all you do is put a piece of paper up behind you.
Right. Yeah, completely crazy. So yeah, I guess I don't know what that does going forward. Probably just us being stupid every year. We always forget this. But any other like small gripes before we go region by region on this? I have like a couple nitpicky, like, damn, I'm annoyed the broad bracket shook out this way things.
Are you looking at more like mad this team got in, you're mad this team got this draw?
Teams I want to pick in certain spots are paired up with teams I can't pick them against. For example, BYU, I would pick to the Final Four in
Okay.
two other regions, and
That's
they're
where
in
I,
Duke's region.
that's where I
That
was gonna go.
that sucks. I have been actually waiting to unveil this car after watching as much hoop as I could this week. I have a take. I think Houston may be the biggest threat to Duke.
Mm.
And there's a world where I was going to pick Houston to win the national championship coming into this, but they're on the same half of the bracket as Duke. So I can't even pick them to the national championship. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's really frustrating. Like, I came in so confident I want Houston versus Duke for the title. And now I'm like scratching on, damn, am I going to put Tom Izzo or Rick Pitino through?
Yeah. I will say one thing that stuck out to me right away though. Purdue is beyond cooked.
Ooh, I'm excited to talk more about that. I
Yeah.
find it funny, like a couple pairings that felt just for us, Purdue and Illinois in the same region, Michigan and Michigan State in the same region.
I mean, look, I have no fear of that. I love it. I love to see it. I'm actually very interested to maybe when we go through it, we can talk a little bit more about where the Big Ten teams got seeded because it's interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Okay. All right, without further ado, let's go region by region. We'll start with the first one that was unveiled, the South region, the region that both of our teams call home. Auburn is the 1 seed, Michigan the 5, Michigan State the 2. Louisville in close proximity to like isn't the game being played in Louisville or somewhere in Kentucky?
I think it's in Kentucky, I believe.
So like basically a pseudo home game for Louisville against Auburn potentially if they get through Creighton in the round of 32. Michigan's draw is torturous. We'll talk about that in a moment. Iowa State, the 3 seed here, but a lot less scary suddenly with your favorite guard in the country, Keyshawn Gilbert, scratched for the rest of the year. And Cam Jones, Michigan State could be fun. Another Shaka Tom Izzo NCAA tournament thing. What's your general reaction to the South region?
I mean, I think my general reaction to this is looking at the rest of the bracket. I think the 7-10 is a lot weaker than a lot of other, regions of the bracket. And also, as you go to the top, out of the 1 seeds, even though Auburn is the number 1 overall seed, I think you can make an argument that they are the least scary number 1 seed out of the number ones. And obviously, you go through it, you look at the other high seeds. You mentioned Iowa State. They limp into the tournament, literally and figuratively, not having Keyshawn Gilbert. And then the shock part, like you already mentioned, Louisville being an 8 was wild to me, and Michigan being a 5 after what they did is crazy to me as well. We can dive a little bit into that, but them playing a team in UC San Diego, the Tritons, great year, force a lot of turnovers, and then if they win that, they face Texas A&M, which is or Yale, either one, maybe a Danny Wolf revenge game. So that's a tough little pod right there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, multiple revenge games potentially for my team is immediately intriguing. You could get Danny Wolf against his former team if Yale upsets Texas A&M and M and Michigan takes care of business. And then, God forbid, Trey Donaldson against Auburn in the Sweet 16 if you got there. Now, there's so many hoops to jump through to get there. But like as a fan that feels like my team just did like the team of destiny run this week, kind of love it. Like let's stack all the odds against us. I'll probably elaborate more on this later this week in some form, Cart. But I've picked, you know this for a month. I've picked Michigan to be upset in the first round. They drew the best mid major in the country, a historically good mid major, who is very specifically set up to do their best thing, which is Michigan's worst thing. They
Yeah.
force turnovers. Michigan turns it over constantly. So it's a nightmare draw in the first round. If you get through that, in the second round, you get the best rebounding team in college basketball for 3 years running with this personnel against a Michigan team that gets beat up on the boards often. So, again, as the two weaknesses Michigan has could not be more exploited in the first two games than this. Highly unlikely they get through that. Like, just mathematically, highly unlikely they get through that. But mentally, as a fan, this is gravy at this point, I think. Like now that I got this, I got a
Oh,
fake
okay.
banner, right? Who cares? This season is a success. I didn't
Okay.
have much hope they were going to make a tourney run anyway.
Okay.
Might as well do the thing that this Big Ten tournament became, Cart, of like, everybody says we're lucky. F it, line up. Let's
Line
go.
up.
Let's do it. As long as I don't see Michigan State, I don't really care at this point. You want to see Danny Wolf against Yale or a team that beats us up on the board? Sure. Because if we win, I'm gonna be so insufferable at this point with this.
Also, why can't we get away from you?
That's the most frustrating part of this to me. Like I don't even have hope for a Final Four run because Thomas always
Right,
stands
like
there.
you could make an Elite Eight, Greg, and I'm not even worried about this coming back to bite me. We meet in the Elite Eight. You're not winning.
Right.
So
There's
like that.
no world Michigan beats
But
Michigan
any
State.
other team, you might have a little chance. But if it's us, we're tied at the hip, I
I
guess.
would genuinely rather play Duke than Michigan State. But the one thing I will say, again, if you're looking for optimism, Michigan fans, there isn't much reason for it at all. But if you are looking for it, I think there's a world where the top seeds in our little pod get upset. Like Auburn is vulnerable right now. They are not the Auburn they were a month ago. They could easily lose a game where Louisville makes 23s in the state of Kentucky in the round of 32. I think Texas A&M is great. If Texas A&M plays Michigan, I think that's doomsday for Michigan, to be honest. But I think Yale could beat Texas A&M. Yale beat an SEC team last year. I like this Yale team from what I've seen. They're good. So they're going to frustrate them with the way they play offensively, how smart they are. I think they can avoid turnovers against that defense. So yeah, I don't know. It's a nightmare draw for my team. I'm kind of just taking it on the chin, like whatever at this point, because God forbid we win a couple, it's going to make it a little more fun than it would be to just get an easy draw and do it. On the bottom side, what's your fear level as a Michigan State fan of teams like Marquette, Iowa State?
So Iowa State, obviously, I do fear that I've been very high on them throughout the year. So there is a fear level involved with that. But without Keyshawn Gilbert, I think they're kind of limping into this game. And then just specifically that bottom pod right there, Marquette having the guard that they have in Cam Jones. I just feel good about Michigan State's depth wearing on that team because you watch Marquette a lot this year. They are very five-player centric, honestly, three guard centric. Basically, Cam Jones, Joplin, and then whatever else they can get from Mitchell and Ross in that game. And then New Mexico, they had a really good year. I don't know if they even make it past Marquette, but Donovan Dent's really good. But also, that's another guard that I feel good about Michigan State's guards and depth kind of wearing down on those teams defensively. I think I saw something from DK that Marquette has won like one top 50 game in like the last like 2 months or something like that. They're not necessarily playing their best basketball after starting out really hot in the Big East. And then we get to a point where we might see an Iowa State team without one of their better players if we get to that point. So all in all, not to be like confident or overly confident or anything like that, I really like Michigan State's draw here.
Yeah. It's a draw that if you're a Michigan State fan, you should love your path to at least the Elite Eight. it's funny because I've been saying like the matchup I'm most intrigued with for Michigan State before the season ends is what happens when they play some tough psychopath freaks that
Yeah,
won't get spooked by Jeremy Fears clapping in their face.
right.
Like you're gonna have to get through Auburn, I think, to make a Final Four. And if you get through, or if you don't have to get through Auburn, like there's a world it's Texas A&M cart. A&M is just as tough as Auburn is, and pretty psychopathic themselves. So the one thing I would say, Michigan State's toughness mantra that essentially broke the Big Ten will
Mhm.
be tested in this region
Yeah,
because even Marquette, not the best team, certainly their front court is not anything to be afraid of,
they're
but
tough
those
to shut down.
guards
They're
are
tough.
tough.
They are very
Cam
tough.
Jones is not going to freak out because you clap in his face.
Yep.
If you get through Marquette, Iowa State is a team that prides itself on defense and toughness
Mhm.
and has veteran guards that I don't think will be spooked. So it does feel like a draw. Michigan State is the best team and should get out of, but that toughness point, like Holloman Fears better back up the toughness with real play in this run. If they do, I think it opens up really nicely for Michigan State. If they don't, it could be interesting. Also, maybe a draw where like foul trouble could hurt your bigs. That's the one thing I would say. Like there's some good playmaking guards that like could theoretically get Kohler in trouble in these games.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
obviously, that's something to worry about when you get there. What about New Mexico? I know you love New Mexico and Donovan Dent. Like, do you make them have a real chance here at all?
The thing is, it really hinges on Donovan Dent being that special. And even if he is that special, I've been very big fan of New Mexico throughout this year. They've played a lot of close games in that Mountain West, and the way they bowed out in the Mountain West tournament didn't make me feel the best, given where that team is at. But I'll never completely put down a well-coached team with the other Patino and Donovan Dent just being as great as he is. But I do think there is a little bit more to be desired with the rest of that team.
Yeah. Okay. Dent's intriguing. We'll do our game picks in a little, but like
He's really good.
he'd be fun to watch, and how would he fare against the Michigan State guards would be really fun to watch. But either way, you're getting a superstar. You're getting Donovan Dent or Cam Jones in round 32. So, all right, let's do. I think we'll do more on this later this week, but just give me like a double digit seed team to watch.
Ooh, double digit seed team. Honestly, unfortunately for you, G, it is UC San Diego. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I do want to throw a quick flyer out there for Lipscomb. If Iowa State is beat up, Lipscomb is old. They have a really good player. Not going to butcher his last name. I think it's Ogasevich.
Agnes Savage, I believe.
Ognjesov, like he's that dude is really good. I'm not saying Iowa State is gonna, not beat that team, but that'd be the second team over the obvious UC San Diego pick because that team's just been incredible this season.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next region that was revealed. The East. Duke is the one. You got Oregon and Arizona as the 4 and the 5. Maybe Baylor as the 9 against Duke in the second round could be fun. BYU is the 6. You know, I love BYU. They got to get through VCU. And then could have Wisconsin as the 3 seed, Alabama as the 2 seed, St. Mary's as the 7, and 9 and 2 Vanderbilt, whatever they ended up as the 10. AJ Hoggard back in the NCAA tournament. Initial thoughts on the East region?
Enjoy the Final Four, Duke.
Cakewalk.
Yeah, actually,
I don't know if I see it that easy, but it's definitely like wide open for them.
if you had to label a cakewalk region, which one would it be?
It'd be this one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, did like DJ Edgecombe could have like a legacy game, Shellstad and Caleb Love. Like you have to get through some individual guys who could like go nuclear. The idea of Caleb Love versus Duke again in the Sweet 16 is kind of crazy. Could you imagine
Jeremy Roach versus Duke second round.
Caleb Love extinguishes Coach K and then extinguishes the Cooper Flag team?
That'd be insane.
He would have the most iconic legacy in NCAA history at that point.
They'd have to retire his jersey at UNC, even though he left.
Seriously, yeah. So that's fun. On the bottom half, do you think that Wisconsin has a chance here? I mean, BYU, Wisconsin, Alabama in a pod. One of those 3 teams feels like they'll be in the Elite 8. Kind of
I,
something.
I do think Wisconsin has a chance, and shout out to Jeff Borzelli. He pointed out there's some offenses in this region, some very high potent offenses. Um, I hate that BYU got matched up with VCU. VCU can like really get after people. So that always scares me when BYU plays those type of teams, though I'm not going to go as far as to maybe pick them, but I could easily see Wisconsin getting there if they were to match up with maybe Alabama at that point with the status of Grant Nelson up in the air. He went out in the SEC tournament. St. Mary's used to play a Vanderbilt team that many people thought might be in like the first four in Dayton. They get in easily as a 10 seed. Um, I don't, if I'm Alabama, I'm feeling pretty good about getting to that Sweet 16 or getting to the second weekend. But I think there's a real world where Wisconsin makes a run in this one.
Yeah. Again, it feels like a wide open region where like whatever team in here you do have some belief in, you should just pick through. That's what I'm gonna end up doing with BYU. More on that later. But I think you're right. Like pretty wide open for Duke, other than some player specific drama and any like double digit seeds you believe in. I would say the one thing for me, I don't want any of the 10 through 16s as like serious teams that could make a run here.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I have a hard time in this region really buying a double digit seed, to be honest with you. Maybe if Liberty was playing somebody else, I would do it, but I believe in Oregon enough to get past Liberty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pick any double digit seeds in this region. Now, maybe that'll be the region of chaos. Akron actually has my attention after John Gross's run through the MAC this week. VCU, if you count them too, like as an 11 seed, they pose an interesting matchup for BYU because of how much they pressure. You kind of have to have a point guard against them, and BYU doesn't really have anyone who creates their own shot. So, big Yegor Demon game. Like that's a game where Yegor could end up with like 11 turnovers and they
That's
get
scary.
packing early. Yeah, it's scary. Okay. Down to the Midwest, Illinois and Purdue, two of our favorite teams in the same region. You got Houston as the one, Gonzaga is the eight. They get Georgia and Austin Newell. A couple mid majors that I really like: McNeese and High Point. McNeese versus Clemson, Purdue versus High Point. Illinois is going to get Texas or Xavier, which is hilarious for Brad Underwood, the Texas job, and Sean Miller in the same pod. That's just message board fodder for me. Kentucky against Troy. Kentucky, Illinois in the second round potentially would be pretty fun. And then UCLA is the seven, Tennessee is the two. What are your thoughts?
Wouldn't you rather be the two seed than the one seed in this region?
Yeah. Yes, I
That
would.
that's where I'm at on it because Kentucky's beat up as a three seed. UCLA is limping in. Utah State loses their last game. I mean, Houston, obviously they're going to get past their first round matchup. Assume Gonzaga gets past that. We're looking at one of those situations where it's like, oh, this team's playing an 8-9 seed. They're also playing the current like ninth seed on KenPom, right? That's I mean, say what you want about Gonzaga. It's a top 10 metrical team that you got to play in the second round. I mean, I love Houston, but I literally rather be the two seed in this region than be the one.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of upset potential early in this region. Not necessarily something I'm proud of, but McNeese is awesome, and they came up short last year and brought a lot of guys back. Uh, High Point is like the mid-major everybody circled that isn't UC San Diego that some people like. So yeah, we'll do more on the individual specific game previews for those, but I completely agree. At the same time, there's nobody in this region that scares me if I'm Houston
Mhm.
because I think there's not too many physical teams in that top half, right? Like, is Houston and their physicality and their toughness going to struggle against Purdue or Clemson?
No, I
If
don't
you're
think so.
mid-major, I don't think you feel good once you get to Houston.
No,
So it
no.
kind of one of those where I
There's a
think
lot of,
Houston.
also there's a lot of other five seeds. As if I'm McNeese, the darling, that I would rather play besides Clemson.
Yeah, right. There's an argument the most scary game for Houston in their pod is Gonzaga
Yeah,
because the
it is.
analytics
Like
love them, and that's
you
one
make
team that
it
could hang.
if you make it if Houston makes it to the second weekend, I think they get a I think Final Four for me. But you got to
Yeah.
get past that second weekend or that
Other
first
thing
week.
I would just add, this is one of my things I pinpointed that I'm frustrated with in the bracket. No offense to anybody involved. Illinois and Kentucky, one of the two is going to make a Sweet 16. I wanted so badly to pick both of these teams to lose before the round of 32 or in it. Like I do not believe either of these teams is Sweet 16 caliber at all. A very hurt Kentucky versus an Illinois team that just has zero toughness to it.
Mm.
So it's going to be a really entertaining game, like great offense. I can't wait. I think if you're Illinois, you adore this draw, and if you're Kentucky, you adore this draw.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity that, quite frankly, I don't think both these teams deserve, but one of them should make it. So we'll see.
Very quickly in that Illinois matchup, do you have them getting past either team that wins that first four game?
I do.
Okay, and that's Texas Xavier, correct?
Yeah, I feel very confident Illinois will win one game.
Same.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm not
I think
confident they're going to win
I
two.
echo your sentiment. If I'm an Illinois fan, I absolutely love my draw.
Yeah, right. Like you shouldn't be spooked by Kentucky
No,
if you believe in
no,
this Illinois team at
not at all.
all. At the same time, if you're a Kentucky fan, you should not be spooked by this Illinois team. So
No,
I'm frustrated because I come into this like where I'm going to make my money on brackets is like I'm selling these teams that everybody else wants to buy. The very top of my list is Illinois and Kentucky, and now I got to put one through. Like I'm sitting here trying to talk myself into Troy beating Kentucky, and then I'm like, all right, Illinois is just going to hammer them anyway. So God, man, kind of crazy to me. And then over to the final region in the West, Florida is the one. UConn as the 8 could get Dan Hurley versus the Florida Gators. Jeremiah Fears standing in the way of that game. You got Memphis versus Colorado State. The Crab 5 is the 4 seed versus Grand Canyon. Missouri Drake, Texas Tech is the 3 seed. And then the bottom 4 where everyone's real excited. Bill Self versus John Calipari for a date with Rick Pitino. Hall of Fame coaches everywhere in that bottom portion. What's your reaction?
how do we feel about Arkansas with Boogie Flan possibly coming back?
Think it might hurt him.
You think?
Think it might hurt him.
I think it might too. If you're St. John's, aren't you upset as a 2 seed in this spot after winning the Big East like they did and then winning the Big East title?
If I'm No, I'm not because I
No.
don't think Kansas or Arkansas are all that good.
Okay, it's a name. It's a name and it's a coach, but you're the clear better team.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the
Okay.
way to frame it. Yeah.
Okay, where I'm coming from on the West, I just don't. I wouldn't want to be in this region just giving off coaching acumen alone. Like
Yeah,
you
right.
have Dan Hurley as an 8 seed, you have Bill Self as a 7 seed, Cal as a 10 seed, then you have Patino in this as well. Like just as a I would not want any parts. I would be upset if I was the 2 seed in this region as a Michigan State fan.
Yeah, I hear you.
Also want zero parts of Florida right now. Absolutely zero parts.
Yeah, Gators fans are gonna love it. I hate the top half of this region. You know, I'm not a Maryland believer. I think Memphis is extremely overseeded. You got to kind of pick one of those teams. I'm not all that worried in Colorado State or Grand Canyon being upset teams. UConn, like, okay, you're gonna talk yourself into Dan Hurley because there's not a lot there with the team right now. So Florida, to me, again, similar to my Illinois Kentucky takes. I wanted to fade Florida while everybody else jumps on them. There's just nobody I believe to like pick them off before you get to an Elite Eight. In the Elite Eight, at that point, you're definitely banking on some great coach or buying into St. John's. So we'll see. I'm excited to hear who you have winning some of these matchups in a second. That's the end of our region by region initial reaction. Again, we'll have more on this. I think we'll probably do a region specific preview in for Tuesday's full episode. Once we have a full day to actually dive into all these games, we'll actually get our research out and give you some X's and O's on what we think will happen in all these games. But stay tuned, subscribe to the Sleepers Media YouTube channel so that you can see more. For our second topic, I feel like a magician being like, for my second trick, Cart, I want to hear your entire bracket. So we did this last year too. And it was one of my favorite listens of the year, listening to yours and my full analysis on this. But you don't have to beat every matchup to death. We do want to keep this moving relatively quickly, but also don't just give me a name with no insight on what you're thinking for some of the exciting matchups. I know you like to just fly through it.
Yeah.
So please fill out your bracket and give us the thoughts through your head as you were going matchup by matchup.
Glad you said that. Was going to come on here and say my national champion is Michigan State and move on to topic 3.
On brand.
Yeah, but let's go through it. Shall we start in the South?
Dude, just do whatever.
I will
Like what
start.
time should we start in the South, Greg? Like card, do whatever.
I start where you tell me to start.
I can't think right now.
It is what it is. March is a time, folks. Let me tell you. All right. I'm gonna skip through some of the ones that obviously, like Greg stated, they don't need to be talked about. Auburn advances. I'm gonna take Louisville to beat Creighton in that matchup. Look, I've actually been fairly impressed with Louisville this season. I was very surprised to see them on the 8 line. Creighton had a nice little run in the Big East tournament. I just don't really have that much faith in anyone outside of Calk on that basketball team. So I'm gonna take Louisville to advance to the next round. Um, I'm going to pick UC San Diego over Michigan. Greg has been telling me for weeks that Michigan's going to lose in the first round of the tournament. You give me a good UC San Diego team that forces a lot of turnovers against a Michigan team that turns the ball over a lot. And look, I like making Greg happy and abiding by his wishes. He's been telling me Michigan's going to lose in the first round. So who else would I pick but UC San Diego? Moving on down. I'm going to take Texas A&M over Yale. I know Yale's a very tough team, but I just think that Texas A&M style of I want to bite the floor, eat you alive, rebound my misses, just beat you up is going to be a little bit too much for Yale. There's a difference between the Ivy League and a difference between the SEC. Give me Texas A&M in that game. Moving on down, I have Ole Miss over whoever's in that playing game. I hope it's UNC. Actually, I don't hope it's UNC. I hope it's San Diego State. I don't want UNC to do anything, but give me Ole Miss in any regard there. I'm gonna take Iowa State over Lipscomb. I'm going to take. Whoa! We have Marquette, New Mexico is the next one I'm looking at. I love Donovan Dent. I've been a little bit underwhelmed with pieces outside of Mr. Dent. So I'm actually going to take Shaka and Marquette in that game, though it might be a popular pick for New Mexico in that spot. And then at the bottom there, I'm going to take Michigan State over Bryant to move on to the next round. Anything that you need to push back on, or can I keep it moving?
No, I'm in alignment with a lot of these just quickly because I don't know how much we're going to talk about until we get to the actual preview of it. But is there anything at quick glance with Bryant worth double taking at as a Michigan State fan?
They're a very big team. Very big, very athletic. They like to play fast, get up and down. Matador defensive team, I must say. Um, it's actually funny. I actually remember watching Bryant, and I think we were on this together, G. It was Bryant versus St. John's early in the year. I was kind of fading St. John's at that point, and they did hang tough with St. John's for a minute, but they ended up losing by 22 points. But they have like the size and athleticism that you don't necessarily think they get outmatched, but they do leave a lot of things to be desired. I'm not really worried as a Michigan State fan.
Okay,
Okay.
fair, fair. Keep it going.
Um, Moving on to the second round here, I'm gonna have Auburn beating Louisville. I just don't think Louisville they'll need to bomb threes, and even if they do bomb threes, I think Auburn bounces back from a late season little skid there. And then I have Texas A&M versus UC San Diego in the next round. I have Texas A&M advancing in that game. It'll be a close one, but I'm an Aggie, and I think that the style of play that the Aggies play, they'll be able to dominate that game physically. I'm probably going to just keep advancing Texas A&M until they run up to a team that's more physical than them, which I'll touch on in the next round. The bottom part there, I have Ole Miss taking on Iowa State. I am actually going to take Ole Miss in that game. I just think that Iowa State has not necessarily played the best coming down the stretch, and they are without Keyshawn Gilbert, which I think is going to hurt them. And I don't know if Tamin Lipsey is fully healthy, so I'm going to take Ole Miss in that game. And then at the bottom, Shaka versus Tom Izzo once again. I like Michigan State's perimeter players to be able to defend Cam Jones and crew. I'm going to take Michigan State to beat Marquette in that second round.
We have a lot of the same picks.
Is that good?
It's kind of crazy. Keep it moving.
Okay, I have Auburn over Texas A&M. Like I said, till they beat a team that can match them physically, I'm going to pick Texas A&M. Auburn can do that. Chad Baker Mazara will be suspended for this game, but they'll still win. Um, Moving on down here, I have where am I at here? Oh, sorry. I have Michigan State beating Ole Miss to advance to the Elite Eight to take on Auburn, and I have Michigan State beating Auburn to advance to the Final Four.
What happens in that Michigan State Auburn game? Because you'll hear my bracket in the next segment. This is the most divisive pick of the entire bracket for me. I have Auburn and I have Michigan State getting there. Spoiler alert. And this is the only pick since my first initial glance at it to 2 hours later. The only initial pick that I have changed is this game. Talk me through it.
So with this Auburn team, I think there's been some inconsistencies lately that have kind of scared me just a little bit. Like in the last game of the SEC tournament, Tahad Pettiford goes 0 for like 20 from the field. Janai Broome goes 5 of 12 from the free throw line. Chad Baker Mazzaro's getting ejected from basketball games. I just think that this Auburn team, as good as they are not playing their best basketball right now. And in regards to like Janai Broome being as great as he is, one thing that I know this kind of goes against it because obviously John Tonji by himself was able to beat Michigan State. Um, I think Michigan State does have a little bit of like I can let this guy go off and hopefully do enough to shut down the other guys to give myself a chance to win. I do think there can be a little bit of that implemented against Auburn. And also, like, I think that also Michigan State operates really well as an underdog. And I think they will be a massive underdog in that Auburn game.
You're right.
Maybe not massive, but maybe like, just perception. Like people think, oh, okay, this is great. I can't wait till Michigan State plays a team like Auburn, and then we have something for that ass.
Psych wise, that's a really good point. All right, thank you. I won't reveal anymore. So you have Michigan
Okay.
State in the Final Four. Keep it moving.
All right, going to the West here. I have Florida beating Norfolk State. I have UConn beating Oklahoma. I have Memphis beating Colorado State. I have Maryland beating Grand Canyon. I'm sorry for the chalkiness. I'll switch that up right now. I have Drake beating Missouri. I have Texas Tech beating UNC Wilmington. Oh, we are to Arkansas and Kansas. I have switched this 3 times since I've looked at the bracket. The current iteration of this, I have Arkansas advancing in this basketball game, and then I have St. John's beating Omaha to advance to the next round. Back to the top here. I have Florida beating UConn by 25 plus. I have Maryland beating Memphis. I have Texas Tech beating Drake. I have St. John's beating Arkansas to advance to the Sweet 16. Now we are into the Sweet 16. I have Florida beating Maryland. I have Texas Tech beating St. John's, and you have Florida versus Texas Tech in the Elite Eight, and I have Florida advancing to the Final Four.
Talk to me on Texas Tech beating St. John's.
So Texas Tech, I think they have the matchup wise to me that I feel good about JT Toppin because to me, when I watch St. John's, they're so good. Just like with guys like RJ Lewis and the wings and the guards, but they get taken to another level when Zuby Ejiofor is able to like dominate you. And he has been able to dominate some really good bigs in the Big East. I don't know if he's doing that against Texas Tech. Now, the one caveat is I'm assuming Texas Tech is healthy. If they have Chance McMillan, they have Darion Williams, they have their full arsenal. They shoot the ball extremely well from 3-point range. I think if St. John's gets into a spot where they got to keep up with a team that can shoot really well from three and they knock down some shots, I don't know if they'll be able to keep up.
Okay. Fair take. All right. So you have Florida
Yep,
and Michigan
Michigan
State
State.
in your Final Four first. Let's move to the other side.
All right, so we're over to the East here. I have Duke in my Final Four. Moving on to the Midwest region here. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that to you. I have Duke beating the 16 seed. I have Mississippi State beating Baylor. Scott Drew, you're a liar. I have Oregon beating Liberty. I have Arizona beating Akron. This BYU VCU matchup is going to kill me, but Greg, a wise man once said, "We are Mormons, even in the tough times." I made that up, so I'm gonna pick BYU in this spot. As much as people want to tell me that VCU is gonna get there, I'm gonna take BYU in that spot. BYU is a tougher team than people give them credit for. They're not the same BYU. They played Houston. Relax. I have Wisconsin beating Montana. I have St. Mary's beating Vanderbilt, and I have Alabama beating Robert Morris.
I'm just very afraid of all of the similarities between our brackets. Keep going.
Yeah, I love you too. Moving on, I have Duke over Mississippi State. I have Arizona over Oregon. I have BYU losing to Wisconsin. I have St. Mary's beating Alabama.
St. Mary's. Wow. The Grant Nelson injury spooks you that much, huh?
Yeah, it does. He was a massive part to what they did in their Final Four run last year. And it just in my head, Alabama will frustrate the hell out of themselves playing against a team like St. Mary's.
That's true.
It'll drive them crazy, and I just don't like that.
That's extremely true. I want you to just say this out loud, though. I'm picking Augustus Marshallonis over Mark Sears.
I have to?
You have to say that out loud, yeah.
I'm picking Augustus Marshall.
I'm picking Harry Wessels over
Okay.
Cliff Amorie.
God, that sucks, but I am.
Okay, all right,
I
keep going.
am. All right. I got Duke beating Arizona in that top portion there. I have Wisconsin beating St. Mary's in that next game. So I have Duke, Wisconsin in the Elite Eight, and I have Duke beating Wisconsin to go to the Final Four.
Little 2000, what was that? 15
15.
national championship game
Yeah, for Decker.
for Decker, huh?
For Decker.
Wisconsin Elite Eight run.
Yep.
Got that much respect for a team that beats Michigan State. You just auto put them in the Elite Eight, huh?
You know I've been a Badger.
There are some very lucky bad basketball teams that swept Wisconsin like it was nothing, and here they are in your Elite Eight. Crazy. All right.
You guys are the nightmare matchup for Wisconsin.
Oh no, nightmare matchup. I forgot Maryland was nightmare matchup
John
forever.
Tonji's a first team All-American until
You know
Will
what?
Champ
Some
looking him
teams
in the
need to
eyes.
stack up. That's what this is. I'm sick of this shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going there. Some teams need to just put your pants on today. Okay? Grow up.
It's
Final
getting
region.
warm. We can be with shorts. Okay, moving to the Midwest, the last region for me. I have Houston over that team. I have Gonzaga winning there again. I have Gonzaga beating Georgia. I have Clemson beating McNeese. I'm gonna go back and forth on this right now. Braden Smith's not gonna let me lose to High Point. Give me Purdue in that basketball game. Moving on. Illinois taking on whoever. If it's Illinois, Texas, I'll be picking Illinois. If it's Illinois, Xavier, I will be picking Xavier.
You're
Let
still
that be
doing the
known.
Xavier thing, huh? Years
Yep.
later, when you don't even like the personnel, you're still doing the Xavier thing.
Yep. Get Conwell. I got Kentucky over Troy. I have no, I don't. I have UCLA over Utah State, and I have Tennessee over Wofford.
Okay. I got
Moving back
no
to
major issues. This is not a region we're going to agree on, though.
okay, I know we're not. Moving back to the top. I have Houston beating Gonzaga. I have oh, oh, oh. Oh, I have Clemson beating Purdue. I have Clemson beating Purdue. I have, oh my God. I hate this pod.
Yeah, this region is the one we're all going to get wrong, I think.
Yeah. And on that note, I have Xavier beating Kentucky.
That's so random.
Xavier just
They shouldn't even be in the tournament,
they
man.
just stop all the talking.
Once again, a team Michigan beat by 28. Like you have so much respect for teams I don't respect at all. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's what makes this program great. I got Tennessee beating UCLA in the next round. And moving back up to the top there, I have
'Cause
Houston.
honestly, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm surprised you didn't put UCLA through. You know, they beat Michigan State. So I
Did
thought
they?
maybe you'd have them beating Tennessee.
I almost didn't have them winning the game.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah, give me like a week. I'm gonna start really chopping up some Utah State film. I'm definitely gonna pick them when the time comes. Tune in the Bleacher Report app every day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to find out. I have Houston beating Clemson at the top there, and then I have Tennessee beating Xavier. You have Houston versus Tennessee. Houston goes to the Final Four. So we are into my Final Four. My Final Four is Duke, Houston, Florida, and Michigan State. I have Florida beating Michigan State in the Final Four on one side. I have Houston beating Duke on the other side. I have Houston versus Florida in my national championship game. I have Florida winning the national championship.
What? This is different than what you just said on the Bleacher Report show 10 minutes ago.
How long ago was that?
10 minutes.
Welcome to the madness.
So if we record this again 10 minutes from now, you're going to give me a different champ.
Highly likelihood. That's the madness.
And it's never Duke, the team you've been saying is the champ since the beginning of the year.
Cooper has one ankle.
Unbelievable, man. You are truly a special specimen. All right. I give you a 10 out of 10. I
Thank you.
do. That was good. Topic three, it's my turn to fill out my bracket pick by pick. But before we do, I would like to pause and kiss the Big Ten Tournament Championship banner that hangs behind me. So please be on my time as the Big Ten Tournament champion and allow me this moment. Thank you.
Yeah, let me step away.
It's actually tradition for me to kiss this every time they do this,
When's the
which is
last
all
time
the
you
time, by the
When's the
way.
last time you had one of those?
Fun fact, 100% of the times that Dusty May is my head coach, that happens. And other fun fact, not lost on me that Doug McDaniel played a part in this. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate all you did for this program. We would never be here without you, Doug. This banner is your banner, Doug McDaniel. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. All right, to my pick. Should we pick the bracket cart?
Of course.
I got Kansas State winning it all. I'm going to start in the South. Auburn beats the 16 seeds. Louisville Creighton is a really interesting matchup to me because I think everyone seems to be just like auto putting Louisville through, and Creighton's not bad. They showed some life in the Big East tournament, but matchup wise, it screams Louisville to me because Creighton's two-dimensional, Ashworth caught, and Louisville as a matchup is going to make both those dudes do things they don't like to do. Hepburn's going to be in Ashworth's shit,
Mhm.
and Kalk's going to have to defend the perimeter. He can't just sit and drop against Louisville.
Yeah.
So I think it really favors Louisville in the state of Kentucky. Give me Louisville. Michigan, I will admit, no, I won't admit. This is not a homer pick because I have no issue picking Michigan to lose a game I think they're going to lose. I don't think this is the nightmare matchup everyone is saying it is for me. Like I know UC San Diego is good. That's the thing I'm upset about. They're good. It's not that it's like they do things that I think are going to kill Michigan per se. They're just good. They're one of the best mid majors, if not the best mid major in the country. They're also a team that employs 6'8" centers.
Mhm.
Like they have a good 2 point percentage defense because they play in the Big West where they see 6'7" centers. Like I think Vlad and Danny are going to be able to do whatever the hell they want against this defense. They're going to turn it over. Michigan is going to lose the turnover battle like 25-2 in this game. But Michigan lost the turnover battle like 19-6 against Maryland and just beat Maryland.
Mhm.
Like I don't. Michigan's gonna turn it over? No shit. They've been turning it over in their wins for 3 months. Like turning Michigan over isn't a way to beat Michigan.
Yes.
So for that reason, I have Michigan winning this game. I'm certainly not comfortable with it. I think it'll be a good game. UC San Diego is really good, but it's not the nightmare matchup everyone's trying to tell me that it is. And I have this is something I'm gonna do before Thursday, as long as I'm not in the labor and delivery room the whole time. I want to dig into the most public upset picks in like the last 10 years because everyone on earth is picking San Diego as like the pick this year. And last year that was McNeese, and McNeese lost rather comfortably.
Mhm.
So I kind of just give me like a 10-year sample size. How often does the public obvious upset pick actually result in a win? I'd like to know that.
I mean, I can even thinking on recent memory, it was either last year or 2 years ago. No, no, you know what? It was last year. It was the 8-9 matchup with New Mexico, and I forgot who they matched up with, and they lost by like 30.
Yeah, there's a lot of games where I feel like the obvious play ends up being like a blowout loss in the wrong direction. So that's what I'm going with. Is it a homer pick? Maybe. But again, I have no problem telling you Michigan will lose a game I think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose to UC San Diego. Texas A&M against Yale. I'm going A&M. Another trendy one. I think a lot of people are picking Yale. They will sit back and make A&M bomb threes. Like that's what Yale does. And A&M can't shoot. So there is a world that Yale wins this game, but I think A&M like Yale doesn't have Danny Wolf this year. I'm not
Mhm.
impressed with the Yale front court. I think A&M's just going to physically dominate them. Give me the Aggies. Ole Miss is my pick over the winner of San Diego State, North Carolina. I thoroughly expect it to be San Diego State, and then I thoroughly expect Ole Miss to win that game. I'm taking Iowa State over Lipscomb, although this is the one 14 seed or lower that I thought about because Iowa State is pretty banged up and Lipscomb does have the right archetype to be able to avoid getting devoured by the Iowa State defense. Like they are a team that will take care of the basketball and play smart offensively and run good stuff. But at the end of the day, I trust Otts and the infrastructure that's there. I'm taking Iowa State. I have New Mexico beating Marquette. Mostly because I just hate Marquette's front court so much. I think New Mexico has the better front court, and Donovan Dent can at least match Cam Jones in the backcourt. And then I have Michigan State, no doubter, blowout against Bryant in the first round. Should I just move to the round of 32, or do you have any comments?
No, I'm good with that. I hear you out on that. UC San Diego's tallest player is legit 6'8". So, if Danny Wolf does the thing he did in the second half of the Wisconsin game where he was like aggressive to the hoop, spinning, laying up, making plays, I think a lot of people's brackets could get busted by the love for UC San Diego.
The turnover stuff is legit. Like Michigan will get out turnovered by 15, but that happens all the time anyway. And I've seen them win games while doing it against teams a lot better than San Diego. I have Auburn beating Louisville, but Card, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought long and hard about an upset here because Louisville is playing a home game in Rupp Arena against Auburn, and I don't trust where this Auburn team is at. This is not the Auburn team from 2 weeks ago. This is an Auburn team that has had recent Baker Mazzara chaos and whose guards have fallen off a cliff cart. Janai Broom's been banged up and Pettiford's been stinky lately. This is a team that I think is seeing some ghosts right now. And I think they're vulnerable. Louisville's the type of team that could just make 13 threes and beat them. So I thought about it. I really did. But I also placed a live money line bet on Louisville to beat Duke last night, and I lost my entire bankroll. And I'm not going to make that mistake twice. So I have Auburn beating Louisville. I have Texas A&M beating Michigan. Once again, not afraid to tell you when my team will lose. Telling you this right now. If Michigan plays Texas A&M, they have a 0% chance of winning that game. I am way more mad about this pairing than I am the San Diego drawing the 5 seed. A&M is going to devour them. They will out-rebound us 50-14. Vlad and Danny will stand there watching. Like today, they were watching Steven Crowell and Nolan Winter go to work. It's not going to happen. That team is too elite on the boards. They're not even going to have to make shots. They'll get a point per possession just off putbacks alone. And they're too physical and too tough. There are some Michigan State toughnessy vibes to A&M that I think will get in the shit of the Michigan guards. So, again, I'm not giving up hope for a run for Michigan. It's a good season anyway because we got that. But they need Yale to beat A&M if they want any hope of going further. They can't beat A&M. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry, I'm still hung up on the fact that Louisville's playing in Lexington as an 8 seed.
Crazy.
How's that pop? If I'm Auburn, I'm livid.
Right. It's crazy.
Isn't Auburn the number one overall seed?
Which is also crazy. The committee sucks. Let's move
on. The committee
on.
stinks.
Committee stinks. All right, I have Ole Miss beating Iowa State, as do you. I love when we're aligned on that. Iowa State too banged up, and I really like this Ole Miss team, as do you. I feel like our boy in the backcourt probably has a big shot coming, I think.
Our Rebels.
Our Rebels. And then I think Michigan State against New Mexico would be fun for like 6 minutes. And then they'll realize like one player can't beat Michigan State, and Michigan State will wear that team down immensely in the second half. Into the Sweet 16, I have Auburn beating A&M rather comfortably. This is where the A&M run goes out. I think they caught Auburn at the right time in the regular season. Revenge spot. They're just way better. Janai Broom will destroy them. And then Michigan State over Ole Miss. Will say this. This spot reminds me of Michigan State versus Jerome Tang.
Mm-hmm.
Where like Michigan State might be a better team. That coach is kind of hot right now. Like if Chris Beard's back in a Sweet 16, that's not a dude I would want to see. If I'm you, I think I'd almost rather see Otzelberger.
I 1,000% rather see Otzelberger.
Yeah. So it's a scary one. I think this could be a maybe bust your brackets type thing because Ole Miss is good. But I'm going to go Michigan State, which takes us to Auburn versus Michigan State in the Elite Eight. I told you this is the only pick that I've switched since my initial run at filling out a bracket. I switched from Auburn to Michigan State. And right now I have Michigan State in the Final Four. I may change again, but this is what it came down to for me. Two things. One was a point that you made. Michigan State's an underdog if they get to this game.
Mhm.
And I love Michigan State as an underdog in this game. Second, I think Jace Richardson will destroy the Auburn guards. I think he is way better than any guard that Auburn has. And Tahad Pettiford is good. He's not playing well right now. Miles Kelly is good. Miles Kelly's a guy I think you can bait into some tough shots. I've talked about it before. Auburn never makes the extra pass. Michigan State always makes the extra pass. I begged for this matchup for 3 weeks right now because I swear to God, I want, as a rival fan, I want to see what happens when your seventh man decides to get chippy with some actual psychopaths with some muscle to him. I
Mhm.
want to see Trey Holloman put in his place a little bit. But Baker Mazzara probably won't be available for this game, and you still have the better players. So I'm going to take Michigan State to beat Auburn.
Damn, we really were in lockstep, huh?
Like lockety lockstep, man.
I don't even know what to constitute that as good or bad. We really just got to see how it plays out.
We've never been more aligned. I think it's good. Let's go to
I think
another
I'm
bracket we're
leaning
incredibly
good.
aligned on.
I'm leaning
Cart,
good.
this region, I think we have literally the first 14 picks the same. So I'll be quick. I have Florida beating Norfolk. I have UConn beating Oklahoma. Although I will say, I really want to pick Oklahoma to beat UConn because fears will destroy them. And
Mhm.
UConn stinks. I'm not jumping off the band. UConn stinks. But I just got to give Hurley one. Out of respect, I got to give Hurley one. I have Memphis beating Colorado State. Miss me on the Mountain West bullshit. They had a nice run. That's great. Nick Clifford is really good. I'm not disrespecting him again like in the summer. But uh, Memphis has Haggerty, who's like the best shooting guard in the country, and they're an underdog in this game.
Yeah, they are. Colorado State
Betting,
opened up at 2.5.
betting odds have Memphis plus 130 on the money line to beat a 12 seed from the Mountain West card. And here's my biggest reason I love this play. Nico Medved, little spoiler alert for you. We did this with Fran McCaffrey earlier this year. Guess what? Nico's going to Minnesota. That'll
Hmm.
happen the moment this season ends. You know what is good for a coach taking over a new program? Being able to work the portal instead of being in
Yeah.
the tournament for a few days.
Ah,
I'm all over Haggerty and Memphis in this spot. Maryland beats Grand Canyon, although they're going west here. Maryland went west and lost to Washington earlier this year. Don't forget that.
they they did.
I don't love the Crab Five going to the Canyons. I don't like it. Against Grand Canyon, I don't like that. But I'm going to take Maryland, and I think everyone's going to take Maryland. I have Drake beating Missouri, just don't like Missouri. I have Texas Tech beating Wilmington, although their injuries made me think about that for like 10 seconds. And then I was like, no, I got to respect what they're doing there. I have Arkansas beating Kansas too. And after hearing you say it out loud, I want to switch to Kansas. But for now, I'm going to stay on Arkansas. But I want everyone to know it's objectively the wrong pick to pick Arkansas. Hunter's probably going to kill them.
Yeah, but here's the good part about this is the right people have one of these teams losing next round, so you'll be fine.
Right. And then I have St. John's beating Omaha comfortably. To my round of 32, any thoughts before I get there?
No, I like where you're at.
Once again, we agree. I have Florida blowing out UConn, like you said. What'd you say, 28?
27.
I'll take 28.
Okay.
I have Maryland beating Memphis. And once again, this is the committee effing me over because I have to put a bunch of teams I don't want into the rounds I don't want to. I'm out on this team. I am not in on the Crab Five. And yet here I am putting them in the Sweet 16 because what? I'm supposed to put Memphis, Colorado State, or Grand Canyon in a Sweet 16? No, thank you. Give me Selton Miguel. I have Texas Tech over Drake, just way better. And I have St. John's over Arkansas, just way better. Into the Sweet 16, Florida destroys Maryland, destroys them by more than they beat UConn. And then I have St. John's beating a Texas Tech team that I think has sneaky injury issues that they're not telling
Mm.
anybody about. Into the Elite Eight, where I have St. John's beating Florida rather comfortably.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Toughest team in this tournament is St. John's.
Mm.
Toughest team in this tournament is St. John's. Rick Pitino is that good.
They have
You
been
can,
impressive as hell, I must say.
you can go through every single path. He's coached at 5 schools. in all of them from year 1 to year 2 got way better. From year 2 to year 3 took off. He literally, I know it sounds crazy, he may genuinely be the best coach in college basketball history. He's insane. And this team embodies everything he's about. They're tough. They have great guard play. Kadari can win you a game by himself. Lewis can win you a game by himself. Their bigs don't get punked. 7 different times this year, people have told us, oh, St. John's doesn't need this one. And every single time they win the game. They just won the Big East. It's identical to Michigan State, except they didn't lose to Wisconsin in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
This team rocks. And I think Florida's great. I think they're going to roll UConn and Maryland, 2 teams I don't really trust. I think they're going to be very overconfident coming into an Elite Eight game against Rick Pitino, and Pitino's boys are just going to get up in that shit. Like when I envision Kadari Richmond versus Walter Clayton, I see Walter Clayton being too cool, and I see Kadari Richmond taking his lunch money.
Okay. I'm gonna let you make your picks, even though I don't agree. But can I ask you one question on this before we move on?
Please.
If Texas Tech didn't have the injury concerns, still picking St. John's?
I would, but I'd feel a lot worse about it.
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
But either way, I think that St. John's Texas Tech game decides the winner of this region. I don't think Florida will make the Final Four.
Oh man, you got to get on board, bro.
They're great. I don't think they're going to make the Final Four.
All
To
right.
the East, I have Duke. I have Baylor beating Mississippi State. I was surprised you picked Mississippi State. We didn't really flesh that out. Do you want to?
Well, I'm sick of Baylor.
Okay, me too.
They're pissing me off. They just piss me off all year. I pick them all year. I've been with them all year, and they've stuck it in my face all year. So I'm fine with being on the wrong side of them, but I'm just gonna stand with Riley Kugel and RJ Melendez on this one. It's me versus them.
Okay, counterpoint. Sick of Mississippi State. Last time I saw Mississippi State in the NCAA tournament, they rolled over like a good boy and got pet. Like there's nothing. There's nothing they have to offer. I'm out on Chris Jans in general, by the way. Nobody
Oh.
wants to talk about that.
You never brought that one to the forefront yet.
Yeah, I'm bringing that up. Out on the dude. Why does anyone believe in dude?
I don't got a good answer for you.
There shouldn't be one. There isn't one. You have to like actually care defensively to cause Baylor some issues. Mississippi State doesn't. They just fly around going for steals and blocks. They're actually very bad at everything else. I think Baylor's guards are going to eat up Hubbard. They have 4 different guards that are bigger than Hubbard that can frustrate him. I'm all the way in on Baylor here. Oregon over Liberty. I don't like enough about Liberty to think twice about that one. There's just not a lot there for me. Arizona over Akron, same thing. Arizona's too big, too good in the backcourt. BYU VCU. This is very similar to Michigan San Diego for me. And I know I'm going chalky, but bottom line is this. I don't think it's as nightmare of a matchup as everyone says. Like VCU is very physical. They force a bunch of turnovers. They're great defense for sure. BYU has only struggled with that against Houston. There's a different level there with Houston, right? Like, did we not just see this BYU team sweep Iowa State in the last 2 weeks?
Right.
In Ames for one of them? Like, that Iowa State is so much better and more physical than VCU is. So I just don't really buy that it's a nightmare. I don't like anyone on VCU as like a guard enough to think they can offensively carry them.
You don't
in this
like
game.
your sweet Prince Zeb Jackson?
He's playing good. It's Zeb Jackson. No.
That's
And the biggest mismatch that I don't think anyone's talking about with this, Keba Keita's going to destroy this VCU front court.
Yeah, he's pretty physical. They do got a shot blocker on VCU though.
They got dudes. They got dudes. They were in a dogfight with Loyola last game. Like BYU is one of the 7 best teams in the sport for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And you're telling they're going to freak out because they see the BYU havoc. I just don't buy it at all.
Stop calling them BYU.
I'm going to make a comp. I'm going to make a comp. It's a different VCU matchup years ago. You probably don't remember. Do you remember who Michigan played the year they went to the title game?
Oh.
Everyone, it was a darling pick because Michigan had lost to Ohio the year before, and VCU was in prime Shaka Havoc mode. And I went to the Palace of Auburn Hills and had a courtside ticket, not to humble brag. And I watched them boy.
Wow.
Tim Hardaway Jr. broke the press like it was nothing. They're up 20 at half. It's Yegor. He's a 6'10" point guard lottery pick. He'll pass over the pressure, and this team's going to be totally fine. I think BYU blows them the F out, Cart. I think it's a run out.
That's a
I
deep
have
one, yeah.
Wisconsin beating Montana. Montana can't guard at all. It's a perfect matchup for Wisconsin. I have St. Mary's beating Vanderbilt, which feels like me running from the grind, honestly,
It does.
because I should pick Vanderbilt.
You should.
You know what? I'm going to pick Vanderbilt. I just
There you
flipped. I'm
go.
not running from that. I'm picking Vanderbilt. And then I have Alabama beating Robert Morris. Any thoughts?
No, like actual real thoughts, but for the sickos that like to pick 15 versus twos, Robert Morris is probably the 15 you want to side with.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just
Oh,
given the
yeah.
injury with Nelson. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. All right, Duke Baylor, Jeremy Roach rematch. I'm taking Duke. Baylor's been way too inconsistent, and Scott Drew actually stinks in March, but nobody wants to acknowledge it. I have Arizona beating Oregon, although I thought long and hard about Shellstad here.
I know you did.
I thought long and hard about Shellstad here, but I'm going to take Arizona. I have BYU beating Wisconsin. If we actually get this BYU Wisconsin matchup, I want it known right now. It's a legacy play for me. It's a legacy play for your boy. BYU is a much better basketball team than Wisconsin. They have the size to frustrate Tanji. I think they would absolutely win that game comfortably. And then I have Alabama beating Vanderbilt into my Sweet 16. Duke beats Arizona. Caleb Love revenge game. BYU beats Alabama. Once again, a great matchup for BYU because Alabama's going to want to run. It's going to be super up tempo, and BYU is going to be so comfortable with that style of play. And BYU can actually shoot the ball. I'm telling you, Cart, people think I'm homering here. If BYU just gets through the VCU team everyone's overrating, Wisconsin and Alabama play the brand of basketball BYU wants to play. They're
Mm.
going to be super comfortable in those two matchups. Give me BYU to the Elite Eight where this run ends.
Okay. If it was any other one seed, would you have got them there?
I would have BYU beating Auburn and Florida.
Yeah, they ain't beating Houston, but this is the other one seed they couldn't be up against.
This is why I would have had BYU in my Final Four if they were on the left side of the bracket, but instead, nope, got to go through Duke. It sucks, but it is what it is. To the Midwest, I have Houston comfortably. I have Gonzaga beating Georgia. Really wanted to pick Georgia here because I don't buy the Zags at all, but I don't think like an Asa Newell-led team can do it by himself, and Gonzaga has the advantages everywhere else. So took the Zags after flirting with it for a little. This is where, for the first time this entire night, I'm going to really disagree with you on back-to-back stuff here. I got McNeese beating Clemson.
Mm.
I don't understand why everyone is saying it's a horrible draw for McNeese. They are very good. They've lost one game since Christmas. They are top 70 in both offense and defense. Will Wade has not taken a job yet. He is coaching for jobs. He wants the Indiana job. He needs a run in this tournament to get the jobs that he wants. And they have players that can do it, man. I like Shoemate. I like multiple guys on this team that kind of are trying to do what they were supposed to do last year but didn't. DJ Richards, Javon Garcia are good players. So I have McNeese beating Clemson. Clemson's run last year was special. It was also fortunate. And I don't think they've been all that good. They just got pantsed by Louisville this week, and everyone's acting like they're unbeatable. I
And
don't really see it.
okay, who's the tallest player McNeese has?
We don't need height.
Okay,
You're acting like
okay.
Shefflin's 7 feet.
No, but Victor Larkin 6'11", Chauncey Wiggins is 6'10",
Oh,
Shot.
you mean Mr. Piv Vlad Golden?
Oh, how dare you!
Mr. Piv Vlad Golden doesn't concern me. Moving on to the moment in this bracket where I am going to get devoured online. I'm picking High Point to beat Purdue.
Mm.
Did you
Mm.
think about this at all?
Yeah, I did, but then I saw Braden's IG post and I switched it.
What's his IG post? I haven't seen it.
Hold on. It was the caption that did it for me. One sec. Please go on while you're picking High Point, and then I'll bring it back around.
So this is where I'm at. I also love the over in this game. I think it's going to be a really entertaining, high-level, offense-filled game. Stuckey from Action Network gave out the over as his favorite play in this region. Simply put, the High Point offense rocks. It's the 25th best offense in the sport. On Ball Up Top this week, long before we knew the draw, we prompted everybody with like, hey, who's the mid-major to watch? And our entire panel, for the most part, agreed High Point. Like that's the team to pick, not San Diego. I think they're awesome. They're legitimately really good. They've got a bunch of guys that used to play at the high major level. Demarion Williams played at Texas Tech. Bobby Pettiford was a 5-star that started at Kansas. Kamani Hamilton played at Mississippi State. You watch High Point. I watched them in conference tournament play. I watched them in the regular season card. They don't look like a mid-major. They play like a high major. You watch Purdue, respectfully, there are more players on the court at any given time for Purdue that look like they should be at the mid-major level than on High Point. It just is what it is. Now, Braden Smith and TKR are going to be the two best players on the floor. Absolutely no doubt about that. Purdue's going to get theirs offensively for sure because the High Point defense is not very good at all. But High Point is awesome in the areas Purdue is weak at. They are the 15th best two-point percentage offense in the country. Purdue is still, as we speak, 350th in two-point defense. No team with a defense that bad should ever be picked to win an NCAA tournament game against a respectable offense. It's unbelievable. And there was one other area here. Oh, High Point can beat them up on the boards too. High Point's a good rebounding team. Like they're going to get after second chances in this game. I think they're going to score a ton. So, yeah, bottom line is this. Do I feel good picking against my guy, Braden? Absolutely not. Do I expect a Braden text if they destroy High Point? Absolutely. He should clown me if it happens. But the reality is this. I'm going to drag the PhD out of the pocket for the first time. That team quit on the game against Michigan. They didn't just lose it, Cart. They quit.
Oh,
I saw a dead team. And in the interim between that and the bracket dropping, we have all these rumors of guys looking elsewhere.
oh. But what about the IG caption?
It's a nice caption.
Knew I needed love, but I think I value the hate more.
Well, then, Braden, I'm giving you exactly what you need, my friend. If you want the hate, I am picking High Point to beat Purdue. And I want to make it extremely clear, Car, I am rooting for Purdue. I hope I'm wrong because I love Braden Smith and I will always want to see him succeed. But I think it's a nightmare matchup. That once again, how many times did I say that 14 times? Turns out when you have the 350th best two-point percentage defense, there's a lot of nightmare matchups.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. I have Illinois beating Texas or Xavier. Both those teams stink and are as inconsistent as Illinois. I have Kentucky beating Troy. This one also pisses me off because now I have to pick one of Illinois or Kentucky to a Sweet 16. And I want to fade both of these teams. I don't believe in either of these teams. I do not trust them. And somehow one of them gets to go to a Sweet 16. It's crazy. It's a great draw for both. If you're a Kentucky or an Illinois fan, you should feel great. But there's not enough there for Troy with me to pick an upset. I have UCLA beating Utah State. I have Tennessee beating Wofford, both rather comfortably. Any thoughts before I get to the next round?
No, I'm locked in.
Houston beats Gonzaga, and I think they smoke them.
Yes, sir.
I think they smoke them. I have McNeese beating High Point, and I'll be honest with you, it's a hedge because I'm more confident that McNeese beats Clemson than I am that High Point beats Purdue. If we actually get to this game, I like High Point. I think they're the better team, but it's a hedge. For my bracket, I'm taking McNeese. I'm taking Kentucky over Illinois simply because when I close my eyes, I envision Kentucky playing well in big games more than I envision Illinois playing well in big games.
Good deal.
And I'm picking Tennessee to beat UCLA. Sweet 16, I have Houston destroying McNeese. I have Tennessee destroying Kentucky. Houston, Tennessee. I'll take these two teams are nearly identical to me. I'll take the better one. I'll take Houston.
Good deal.
Final four.
Yes, sir.
St. John's beats Michigan State. Once again, two teams I think are identical. Like St. John's' front court a little more. I think they're identically tough, identically can't shoot, identically deep in the backcourt, identically equal from coaching perspective. They're the same team. Just St. John's, I think, has played better and has the better front court. So give me St. John's. Duke over Houston. Pissed off because I would have Houston coming out of the whole west side, whole left side of the region or bracket. This is my national championship game, Duke versus Houston. Think it'll be a classic. Think Houston will be up for it. And I really almost did pick Houston, Cart, because the thing that scares me, if we get to this point, it's kids versus men. And if Jawan Roberts is healthy, I think a lot of people will look foolish for picking kids over men. But I don't know if Jawan Roberts is healthy, so I can't get there. So I'm taking Duke, which would leave us with Duke and St. John's. And if we get that as a national championship game, I expect Duke to win by 32 points.
Hmm. Okay. I'm not mad at that. Quick plug for our good friend Evan Mia over here. I was able to do a Michigan State St. John's matchup preview if that game happened on a neutral court. You want to guess what that line would be?
Pick them.
Would be pick 'em.
Feels right.
Yeah, that feels about right. St. John's favored though, so chip.
Yeah, there we go. Flip it. We agreed a lot, I think, here.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
I feel good too.
I feel great.
All right, that's the end of our episode today. We're not even going to do one big thing. We have a lot to do this week, and it's a chaotic time, obviously. We'll have a lot more March content for you. Previews, recaps, all tournament long. Stay tuned for those. They should start dropping tomorrow. We'll have full episodes of the Sleepers podcast this week as well. And yeah, best time of year, everybody. Enjoy. Join the Discord if you want to play our March games. You got a couple more days to do that. Link in the description of, actually, it's not in our YouTube. Link in our Twitter bio if you want to join the Discord to play the March games. Car, thank you for being here as always, my friend. And enjoy March Madness, everybody. Cheers.